for Arna Huschenbeth. Great tournament so far for Simon Nielsen. But what I'm really looking at is Javier Dominguez, Shota Yasuoka, Yoshiko Ikawa, all there at 4-2. And Ray Zhang, a player many know as a constructed specialist, is one of our limited standouts throughout the course of the year. Now, looking at how the 3-0 drafters of this tournament are doing now, well, there's one of them very notably at 6-0, but you have to feel bad if you're Jesse Hampton. Started out 3-0 in limited, but 0-3 in constructed, and now his back is against the wall. Needs to get that 4th win to make it to day 2. For a lot of our 3-0 drafters, they already have that day 2 locked up, considering all you need is 1 win.
All right, there's a look at some limited. What about constructed here, Cedric?
Let us dive into constructed. Well, Jean-Emmanuel Depraz, who again sits at the top of this particular graphic, has been a constructed standout for many a year now. You can say the same thing about Eli Kassis, and both of these players, again, love their deck here for the weekend. Seth Manfield, Javier Dominguez, Matt Sperling, and had the opportunity to talk to all 3 this weekend about how they feel about constructed, not only for this particular event, but for the entire year, and they have been very happy with their deck selection all year long. Even some players that are beginning to continue to make a name for themselves, like Theodore Young, who is just not having the ideal tournament there, checking in at 2-4, but has been a standout in constructed all year long. Again, I've had the opportunity to talk with him as well, and his deck selection process is one that he looks to really stress test broken interactions in decks. So these players, these are the ones that when you're kind of mining that data at the end of the tournament, you know, maybe their record isn't ideal in this particular event, but more times, often than not, you're going to see that they have a really good constructed deck, and they have a really good process behind how they got to the deck they played in a tournament like Worlds.
Absolutely. Well, everyone, it's time for the final round of day 1 of competition. All right, let's go. Jean-Emmanuel Depraz.
Dark horse.
Eli Kassis.
My dark horse.
Cruel Prowess versus Azorius Oculus. I cannot believe this. Jean-Emmanuel Depraz, lone undefeated player, 7 top finishes. Your current reigning world champ says, hey, not enough. I want to do it again. Versus Eli Kassis, 5 top finishes, came in 2nd at the World Championship in 2022, wants to do 1 better this time. Here's the players. What about the decks, Monty?
Well, Maria, we are going to be looking at 2 decks that we've already seen, but 2 decks that, more importantly, the players that brought them think these are broken. Jean-Emmanuel Depraz on the Leyline of Resonance version of Cruel Prowess, and hey, talking to JED, he's confused why more people did not bring this card. He thinks that it is completely broken. The most broken card in Standard, in fact. And, you know, he may be onto something. This card enables turn 2 wins in Standard. That is completely unheard of in many, many years. On the other side, Eli Kassis on Azorius Oculus. This is a deck that a lot of people thought may have some consistency issues. They weren't sure how it was going to do. And in the final hour, Eli found founding the 3rd path, and that really broke it. His approach to deck building, his approach to preparation was completely numbers based. He broke down the math for us, and suddenly everything meshed, and this deck has so far served him well, making him undefeated as well.
Absolutely fascinating to hear his 11th hour story of finding that card and unlocking so much more win rates in the deck. Really, really cool stuff. All right, everyone, time for the final round here on day 1 of competition at World Championship 30. Ailey and Corey, take it away.
Thank you so much, Maria. Thank you, Monty. Thank you, Cedric. We have the final round of Standard here for you, friends, and it's going to be a big sweat for everyone sitting at 3-3 right now, Corey.
Yeah, that's going to be a tough one, but we're at the opposite side. We got the top of the mountain here, the players that are absolutely dominant between JED and Eli Kassis.
Oh, my. They are just having an absolute cracker of a day. Both of them very happy with their deck choice, but what do you think we'll see in this matchup here?
You know, Eli is definitely prepared to play against Cruel Prowess. You know, this is the deck that everybody kind of expected. But I will say his game 1 configuration with this Azorius Oculus deck does not look great to me. It looks like JD is going to be really favored for game 1, and then post-board, there is a ton of hate that Eli gets to bring in. But yeah, this first one's going to be rough.
Alrighty, so ideally JED can pick up game 1 here, and then fingers crossed for the next one. So pre-game effect, Leyline on the board.
And one of the funny stories I heard from Eli Kassis when I was talking to him at the player party yesterday is he played this deck and kind of before everybody was awake at the testing team, and 5-0'd a league with the new hotness from the deck, with the founding the 3rd path. and 5-0 to League Online, and then it immediately got posted, so his tech was kind of out there, so he just kind of looked at me and he was like, oops.
Oh, boy.
And then Shota ended up playing it as well, so I still want to find out if Shota found it independently or maybe saw Eli do the league and 5-0 it.
Oh, man. It is quite funny to see, all of the preparation and the testing and the scouting and whatever goes into a tournament like this, because you can't just prepare in a bubble.
Yeah, nope, you got to protect information sometime, and the rest of the team, the rest of Eli's teams may have switched to this deck because they also agreed the addition of Founding the Third Path kind of really broke this deck wide open, but they already had a good deck. Their Dimir Demons deck already looked really good, but this is the big turn here for JED. Untapping just a Hwari Jin on the other side. We'll see if he has the ability to just go nuts.
Well, blue player tapped out. This is the time to do exactly that. So let's see if this Ember Heart Challenger can get some extra cards here for JED and, can double cast some spells with that Leyline out.
Yeah, absolutely. Looks like, okay, I mean, that is pretty good. Double Monstrous Rage, double Turn Inside Out. That's 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Okay. I think we could get up to 15 by my quick math, but 15's not 18.
Close enough to dead.
Yeah, pretty close.
Questing Beast, seek, I called it Questing Beast now. Questing Druid, seek the Beast. There you go. The only other playable in hand if Turn Inside Out is also cast here for JED.
Yeah, we'll probably just see this and then go with something like just Seek the Beast at Eli's end step.
Yeah.
11 to 20.
I think that's a little bit more of a measured approach.
Yeah, yeah. It seems better to me.
Oh, okay. Way to get the mouse out.
Yeah,
Nice.
makes sense. You don't want to lose the value on this.
Yeah. Extra creatures on the board here, making it a little bit more difficult for Eli to keep control of it. So 11 is the life total here for our runner-up of the World Championship that Nathan Story won.
Yep, absolutely. And JED was runner-up to Utah before he ended up winning himself. So these players are no stranger to the feature match area, and both cool, calm, and collected in these kind of high-stress situations. Both just phenomenal.
I don't think I've ever seen Eli break a sweat, honestly.
No, not really. I've had the great joy of playing a lot of Magic with him, being on testing teams with him for years, and still to this day, someone who I think is the best Magic player out there right now.
High praise there for Eli Kassis, and it could well be the case.
Yep.
He is sitting in an excellent position right now. If he continues as such, we could see him in the top 8. 5-1. Jean-Emmanuel at 6-0. These players looking to end this day on a high.
And Into the Floodmaw is kind of the best case of interaction that Eli has, which is not great. A bounce spell, you think against these style prowess decks is not really ideal, but it just stops these crazy combo turns.
Yeah.
But when JED has 2 creatures that you have to deal with, one bounce spell usually is not enough.
So let's see, Monstrous Rage, Turn Inside Out, and then the Questing Druid, Seek the Beast. So plenty of options here for JED. What do you think he's leaning towards?
Yeah, picking up that Monstrous Rage, I believe that was the top deck, is pretty huge. So all JED has to really realize is, well, you have 1 mana, you have 1 piece of interaction, 2 blockers. So he's just doing the math. If I Monstrous Rage both creatures, and then Turn Inside Out both creatures, what is the math?
Monstrous Rage on this trigger and trigger designer.
All
Both
right.
going there.
So both
Right.
on...
Both here.
Yeah, I resolved the Challenger trigger before the deadline trigger.
Okay.
Challenger trigger first, going to exile top card. It is another land.
So that is the Valiant trigger. So now Leyline goes, gets to reveal another card. And now if JED doesn't want to kind of go all in here, has the ability to just play another Emberheart Challenger. Just look how resilient this Gruul deck is thanks to Leyline. I mean, I guess JED just did it, huh? Playing Leyline when everybody else was cutting it seems to have just really worked out for him.
What I love about JD as well is in the World Championship that he won, the last one, you know, he played a deck that was pretty stock standard. You know, it wasn't playing any of the new funny things or the newest iteration thereof.
Yep.
Kind of just went with,
6 for now.
you know,
Each is 6.
the most powerful that he thought would get the job done.
Yeah, it was kind of the previous version,
Yeah.
you know, like, which is exactly what this is. This was like version 1 of the Gruul, then people went away from it. So maybe level 3 is going back to it when everybody was prepared for the non-Leyline version.
Man, look at all these mice. Good grief.
See if Eli
big is
can
Gen
survive.
It's Gen 3 power?
Yeah, looks to be 3.
Okay, so that little mouse would die. Chump block there with another fairy.
Still has the turn inside out.
Yeah.
So the way that this works right now is Eli doesn't seem to be dead right now. You know, if that was the case, there was enough trample damage, JED just says, okay, pass priority,
Yeah.
and then it's on Eli to cast the bounce spell first.
Sure.
But since that's not the case, JED will probably start with turn inside out, and then Eli has perfect information and can bounce whatever is most effective.
JD tapping. Gonna turn inside out. Left creature. Yeah, the one blocked by the Haughty Djinn. So now Eli can into the Floodmaw, whichever of these creatures is the biggest threat.
39 trigger. I will target him again.
Okay.
Okay.
So he's really playing around the bounce spell.
No, 7 power each.
7 power each, he says, so that is 10 minus 3. That's 7 to Eli right now if he did nothing. But now if he goes to bounce one of the creatures that's actually dealing damage to him, which he decides to, now since this Emperor Heart is going to trade with Haughty Djinn, it'll double manifest.
Yeah, that's
which is sweet.
I manifest twice, you take 7.
Wish to have trample on that mouse too, but alas,
Yeah.
but we will now get to take a look. There's a Heartfire here and a Slick Shot show-off, I believe.
Okay, so, I mean, both great to put as a manifest. And now you just think like, okay, sure, Eli didn't die this turn, which is a good impressive thing with a Leyline on the other side, but now what does he do next turn? Like, sure, he can play an Oculus. He's just going to need another piece of interaction, and that still might not be enough.
Just being able to, like, double spell with the Leyline out, it seems so busted.
Yeah, really, really strong. And there are certain matchups that we saw when JED sided out the Leylines up against decks that have a ton of interaction. Eli Kassis post-board does have a lot more interaction, but we'll see if JED takes that same measured approach.
And this is not how you want to get this Oculus out there.
Yeah.
The game plan for this deck is get this thing in the bin and reanimate it for either 1 or 2 mana, but having to cast it and exiling creatures or exiling spells from the bin to be able to get it out, it's not ideal.
Not as good. We even saw Shota discard the hand size
That was so
to get
cool.
something in. That was awesome.
And then Nathaniel was just like, no, pop
Yeah,
out. Boom.
yeah.
Bye-bye. But nevertheless, it is a pretty sizable blocker here. 4 creatures down, trying to defend Eli Kassis' life total as the turn passes back to JED. Jeez, is that all the Ember Heart challenges now we've seen? Crikey, it is.
All right, so 4 blockers, 4 attackers. The way JED was getting in there pretty aggressively leads me to believe he has something, and he sure does. 1 Monstrous Rage here is plenty.
Which is
to get
2
this
Monstrous
done.
Rage, which also we let flip up these little friendos here, Cacophony Scamp and the Heartfire Hero, both of which deal damage when they die. So that is going to be that. Didn't even need the pump spell.
Eli has seen enough. So then looking at the sideboard here, I did get some notes here about how JED sideboarded. Well, it's going to be a spoiler alert. Anyways, right here, did leave in the ley lines.
Did, yes.
As he wanted to retain the explosiveness. And then for Eli, like, come on.
Yep.
And then Eli for the sideboard has a bunch of cards to bring in. 2 Split Up, 3 Elspeth Smite, 2 Exercise, 1 Destroy Evil, and then 1 more into the Floodmaw as all options that he could have brought in to interact.
Into
So
the Floodmaw is such a great card.
it really is.
like
Unsummon with a bit of an upgrade.
Yeah. I just give you a fish and I get rid of anything on your board.
Yeah.
Here we're going to see our
Here's the
Pricklock
card.
Prankster. Yeah, let's see. Can we stick an Oculus in the bin? Yes. Okay, now we're going to see some cool stuff.
Yeah, so even better than just, Picklock Prankster. Founder of the Third Path into Picklock Prankster is really ideal. So Now you get to put the powerful card into the graveyard, get a piece of interaction, and then to start Eli's next turn, he gets to start by milling 4 more cards. Whenever a Saga has 3 modes that really work with a deck, that's when you know a card is just really good, you know? And there was a certain Saga that we saw all 3 modes be good in every deck, and that was Fable the Mirror Breaker. So I'm not calling this Fable the Mirror Breaker, but I'm saying it is quite good and compared to Fable in a deck that utilizes all 3 modes.
But that one costs 3 mana, Corey. Clearly it's not as good.
So this is better. This is better
Of course it's
than
better.
Fable. Okay.
Oh, goodness me. But yeah, this Saga is a sweet addition to this deck. You've seen a couple iterations of it if you're playing online, you know, playing on Arena or playing on Magic Online. You'll encounter this deck for sure.
Definitely.
And it's cool to see, you know, the different builds that are arising. As a Cacophony Scamp swings in just 1 little point of damage, you're going to do your bestest.
Yeah, and this was a scary turn for Eli. I mean, the Cacophony Scamp is one of the easier ways to have a turn 2 kill. So
Yeah.
Eli just shrugged and said, whatever, if you got it, if you got it, you got it.
Oh my. Chapter 2, founding the 3rd path. Gonna mill some cards.
Now doesn't have the payoff, though. Eli does not have the helping hand or any way to bring back the Oculus. Just kind of a medium set of cards here. You don't really want to split up just one Cacophony Scamp, but you might be priced into doing it. Or Eli can just free the Fae or Moment of Truth. You might want to do it main phase, as if you find helping hand, then you can bring back the Oculus this turn.
Yeah, that would be sweet. But doesn't find it. Just finds another Picklock Prankster. So,
Almost missed.
ugh, yeah, that's it's not great currently. But looking ahead to Eli's next turn, provided Jean-Emmanuel doesn't kill him right now, what is he bringing back? Or what is he copying in the graveyard with the 3rd chapter?
With the 3rd chapter, I think it's just automatically helping hand to get Oculus, just to get that back into play. That seems like the ideal thing to do. Get the body into play, but Jean-Emmanuel's hand is not great either, but it does have the Paw Patch formation to be able to deal with it. So
That's big because
kind of has the answer for it.
the Oculus's power, like, is it getting to an upkeep and being able to start manifesting. If you can manifest another Oculus off of the Oculus in play, you're just, the game is running away at that point.
Yeah, absolutely.
So here comes the big ol' eyeball. Courtesy of Helping Hand, brings it in tapped. Recommission, bringing it back untapped. But if you get a Jin out, they both cost 1, which is cool.
Just the value. It's absolutely great. Yep, so now JED is going to be pretty priced into dealing with that, but Eli picked up a recommission.
That's cool.
But it's not ideal, as it is a sorcery. JED is going to wait till end step to deal with it and still prevent any shenanigans from happening.
Nice.
And this could easily be the last turn of this match.
Let's see, we got 2 Cacophony Scamps out. We have a ley line down, Might of the Meek ×2. No mice though, so no card draw. Little Scamps, a Phyrexian Goblin Warrior. They have many creature types, but mouse is not one of them.
Yep, still gets pumped, so he can still do that.
Oh, it's the, excuse me, it's the +1/0 if you control the mouse. The draw card is, it happens.
So just 1
regardless.
mana, draw 2, no big deal. Let's see if he's found something else.
Yeah, he had a
just another
second
draw
copy
2.
of that, yeah.
Even without the mouse, it is just still very powerful. Okay, and then overprotect.
Ooh, okay.
So you can overprotect them both.
Storm count 4, 5.
Yep. Take 8, sack them both, take 8 more. That's 16 damage, but since it's not lethal right away,
Might just hold on to it.
I would imagine we just kind of wait. Yeah, I was talking to Eli yesterday about how do you think this matchup is? You got to be prepared for the most played deck, you know? And he's just like, yeah, it's fine. It's fine. Game 1, not great, but then he very much improves post-board.
Okay, so Scamp and the Challenger.
Oh, this is so good. JED leaves one back. There's no flash creatures to block or anything. It's just to play around split up,
Yeah,
to not get completely wrapped away. I think this JED
he's quite good
fella's
at
got a
this,
future in Magic the Gathering.
He's pretty good at this Magic game, huh? Man, what a play.
What a play. Because even if if Eli taps out for split up, there's a high chance that JED can win the game next turn.
Yeah. Moment of truth now. Taking a look at some cards. It's kind of like a baby expressive iteration.
Yeah.
It kind of feels like that. You know?
Or an old telling time for any old school players.
Sleight of hand, archive recommission, prankster, free the fey, moment of truth, and split up in hand.
Look how good split up would be this turn.
Oh, that would have been backbreaking.
It still might be the play he has to go for. That's the thing.
Yeah, I mean, 3 creatures is way more difficult to work with or to defend against than just 1. So.
But as it stands, even if Eli does split up, no, if Eli splits up, the game's over because the 1 damage that Cacophony Scamp will deal will put Eli to 14. 1 overprotect.
So that'd be +6.
Yeah, +6. So take 7, then sack it. Take 7 more. The number's just perfect.
You know what? JED figured that out 5 minutes ago already.
Yep. And I think no matter what, this is a losing line.
Okay.
Like, I think if Eli casts split up, he loses for sure. And if he does this, I think he still loses because he doesn't have another way to interact.
Commission, manifesting.
Beautifully played by Jean-Emmanuel.
So 2 creatures down.
That'll do it. Monstrous Rage to pair with Overprotect is got to be enough as long as JED goes for it.
Seems decent.
And he 100% will. With only 1 mana available, there's only 1 piece of interaction.
To have Into the Flood more.
Yeah.
Eli's probably like, why is the sleight of hand here?
Yeah, I don't even think he would live if he had Into the Flood.
Probably not. But yeah, that's pretty nutty. I love seeing the Scamp in this deck.
Yeah.
Not everyone's playing this little guy either, I don't think.
Yeah. It makes sense when you are playing Leyline to play that.
Yeah. All right, block on the Scamps so that they can't deal combat damage to face. So that prevents us. Well, they're going to get trampled anyway, so it don't matter. They're going to blow themselves up.
Yeah, just running the math. As you get +6 from the Overprotects, +6 from the Monstrous Rage too, since when it gets copied.
Yeah, Monstrous Rage on 2 creatures, max value.
Yeah, if JED knew there was no interaction, I'm sure this would just be a very quick
easy
cast my spells, but I was trying to think, if you have it, does it even matter?
Copy, copy. Rawr, rawr, trample, boom, boom, die.
You summed it up.
I mean, you can only die once, so.
Yeah. So now they're 4-power creatures. Definitely not lethal yet.
But wait, there's more. Does he
go for it? Is the real
yeah.
question.
Does he go for it?
Okay, it doesn't look like he's going for it.
He's gonna just hang back. Now this is gonna be bad news bears though, ain't it? Because we know that there's split up.
And 1 trigger is going to go on him and 1 on you.
Okay.
So you go to 6.
So taking the conservative route here.
All right, so basically a big old reset. There's still 1 mouse left there. Eli Kassis does have an answer for that little guy. But a 3rd Cacophony Scamp.
Yeah, and with being at 6, it was definitely, you play the 2 Overprotects, you win. So JED was being very protective here. But there could have been so many things that Eli could have had, so I like the defensive play here from Jean-Emmanuel.
Never rushes to...
But now you're right, with split up, and if you were to find another piece of interaction, this game could sway back in Eli's favor, where it was just over last game if he went for it. But as it stands, it looks like Eli has the option of split up one of the creatures and then cast a blocker, or slight for something better.
I'll take a look, sleight of hand. Let's see what he likes off the top of the deck there.
Okay. Helping Hand is a big one. Still only the 1 option for the Oculus.
Yeah. Appreciate Eli splitting things out there so nicely for us.
Yep.
You're the real MVP. So there is a Picklock Prankster. Could see a Free the Fae, perhaps.
Yeah.
Let's try and dig a little deeper. If these creatures survive this turn, Eli is essentially dead, so.
I like this. Split up, then Helping Hand. Then you have 7 toughness. It's just a tough choice whether or not you split up the untapped creature or the tapped.
Yeah. Emberheart Challenger represents more cards. Scamp represents more damage.
Because if he says untapped, JD could win right now by overprotecting.
Yeah. Yeah, he could. Oh. Oh, that would have been so cool.
Okay, I mean, as it stands now, Eli, this is still 8 damage with the overprotect.
So he didn't deal the damage with the Scamp there.
Yeah, might not have. But this is still just lethal because the Oculus comes into play tapped. You have the overprotect, 8 damage,
dead.
trample over for 6.
All right, didn't end up mattering, but yeah. Gotta resolve triggers anywho, but that's gonna be it. Jean-Emmanuel, undefeated.
Trying to run it back. How exciting.
Unbelievable. Jean-Emmanuel is one of the most fantastic players to watch.
Yeah.
So measured, so calculating. Even when he's playing aggro deck, he knows when to put foot and he knows when to just pump the brakes a little bit.
Yep, absolutely. And all the other players that are playing Group Prowess, you kind of look at the results and you're like, wow, was I wrong? Should I have been playing the ley lines? And it kind of seemed like they should, as I really like JD's approach because sometimes he takes it out. In the matchups where it's not as good, instead of just saying, I don't want this card at all, you just sideboard it out.
Yeah.
So.
It's nice to have that option.
JED.
JED does it again. 7-0, our only player undefeated. We are going to take a short break, but we'll have plenty more magic after this. Welcome back, everybody, to coverage of World Championship 30 here in Las Vegas, Nevada. Eli Loney alongside Corey Baumeister for our final round of action here on day one. We have seen some excellent magic so far today, Corey. Tomorrow is going to be a repeat of today, but just with, you know, less than half the field remaining. So.
Yep. But more Dustmorn draft.
But more Dustmorn draft, which is
love it.
Super duper cool indeed. But Standard is where we are right now, and we are going to jump into another matchup here for you, friends. It is Adrián Iñigo Tastet versus Márcio Carvalho, Demure Demons, Golgari Midrange.
Yeah, 2 great decks. They're going to play out pretty similar, 2 mid-range decks. No real clear matchup that's going to be extremely far ahead. They're both going to be playing these long, grindy games where they're going to be duressing each other's hands. You know, they both have access to Unholy Annex. / ritual chamber, so that's going to be a very important thing. And they both have a decent amount of demons, although the majority of demons are in Adrián.
They sure are. So let's get things underway here. Both players at 5-1, and you mentioned it, Duress. Let's take a look at hand here. We see Anointed Affliction, we see Dreams of Steel and something or other. Steel and Oil,
yep.
that's the one, yep. And Witch's Cottage, we've got to go for the throat there, a cut down, so plenty of removal in hand for Márcio.
Yeah, that's the type of hand that's really weak to an Unholy Annex. So that's going to be something Adrián's really going to want. And another thing to very much look out for in this matchup is from Adrián, where he kind of has this combo finish that Team Handshake came up with Doomsday Excruciator with Jace the Perfected Mind. That's going to be a really, really nice combo if he can ever perfect that. You know.
Well, tell us what the
winning
combo
on turn
is.
6.
Not everyone knows what these cards do, Corey.
Fair, of course, of course. If you have Jace the Perfected Mind in play, all you need it to be at is 2 loyalty, and then you cast the Doomsday Excruciator. Each player exiles all but the bottom 6 cards of their library face down, and then you just -2 Jace, mill them out, they die to decking. No big deal.
I don't know if that's happened yet so far, at least not on camera, but
Yeah.
that would be pretty funny to see in a morbid kind of way. But yeah, Spellstutter keeping the Caustic Bronco. Was it Caustic Bronco? Yes, off the battlefield here for Márcio, so no extra cards. And potentially saving 8 damage to face. So good guy, Tastet.
There you go, yep. Didn't have the Unholy Annex, though. That's something to really punish Márcio's hand of having just a bunch of removals, so very much what Adrián wanted to have here, but now at least has the really powerful land available of Fountain Port to just make some fish.
Yeah, it makes it, well, I mean, no one really cares about the fish. It's more what the fish can give you and some card draw there. So
that's fair, that's fair.
1 life for a fish.
So a nice little hand. There is the Excruciator, the other powerful demon, Archfiend of the Dross, and then 2 Fairy Masterminds. But Adrián playing this very defensive here and not deploying all his threats because, well, he knows they'll die.
Has perfect information for the most part of Márcio's hand. We do see a little fish getting made there, so now we just get to play with the resources available on the board, you know.
Yeah.
I don't even know if there's any land destruction being played here this weekend, but yeah, unless you can answer Fountain Point, we're just going to get like this kind of rolling advantage going for Adrián as he's able to capitalize on his fish, turn them into cards, make treasure if he really wants to. So I like where he's sitting at right now.
Yep, absolutely. You can just take over the game with either just making fish over and over or drawing cards. Both are going to give Adrián an advantage, but I kind of like just making fish, start pressuring Márcio's life total.
There is a Restless Cottage down there for Márcio,
Yeah.
so 5th land would, you know, allow him to also start using his mana base to an aggressive advantage. There is 5th land.
If he ever does that, though, the one thing Adrián can do is just drop double Fairy Mastermind and then kind of crack back for 4, but it just looks like Márcio is on just all removal and kind of has no other option. So now we'll see if Adrián wants to cast Masterminds or just eat the fish.
Oh, we're just going to eat a fish? Well, we could still also cast one of them, I guess.
Yep. I would think he would.
No real reason to not do that on the end step here as Márcio's tapped out.
Could also just kill the cottage.
Nice, good, great, cool. Cottage down. So no more of that for Márcio. And also, talk about land destruction. There's one.
Yeah.
Duress, taking a look. Let's see what's in hand. Good grief.
Still just more removal. Honestly, you didn't even need a Duress to know that was Márcio's hand because it's just not casting anything else. Nothing else would make sense.
Well, here we go. Archfiend hits the board.
It was cut down in one other removal spell for Márcio.
Let's go for the throat.
Go for the throat. Okay, so you can... so this will probably just live.
Land. Okay. We have counters now on this Archfiend, so 3 turns essentially for Adrián to wrap up this game. I mean, this food here might make a difference. Who knows?
Yeah. Maybe buy you a turn or something like that.
Yeah, because if you don't have any counters on this guy, then you lose.
Yeah.
I find it very funny that one of the cards in Marcio's deck, Glissa, can remove counters off a thing, but it's very difficult to get her attacking on the turn she comes down to be able to do that.
Absolutely, yep. There has been things in the past, like Heartless Act, to remove the
Yeah.
counters as the kind of got you aspect to this card, but as it stands, this is just one of the best cards in Standard. And it's played more than Shieldred these days
Yeah.
because of the interaction with Unholy Annex and Ritual Chamber. Just really shows the power of that really, really awesome room.
It's the rise of the demons, I tell ya.
I mean, with a set like Duskmourn,
Yeah, you would hope so.
need demons and other scary critters to come
demons,
run about.
horrors.
Yes. And of course, mice.
Yeah,
Maybe
yeah.
not the scariest.
Well, yeah,
but-
I mean, to be fair, mice can be pretty terrifying. Have you ever had a mouse run over your foot in the middle of the night?
I have.
Yeah.
And I was scared. You're right.
Yep,
You're right.
yep.
Okay, I'll give you that
That's
one.
far more terrifying than a big creepy crawly coming around the corner, just saying.
If a demon came across my floor as well, that would be also pretty terrifying.
More food here for a Restless Cottage.
Okay. But now at any point, Adrian can either just make a fish here, cast a Fairy Mastermind, or go double Fairy Mastermind.
Very
Could also make a treasure to cast the Excruciator next turn. You don't have that mill plan available, but it is still just a 6/6 demon.
pretty enormous.
And you get to draw 2 cards, but without any other combo with the Doomsday Excruciator, you will deck yourself first before your opponent's gets done.
My plays are so.
So a lot of options here for Adrian.
Options are great. Marcio doesn't have that many options.
Yep.
He has a cottage and some food.
Yep. And Adrian, for people that don't remember, was an absolute master of the Lotus Field combo deck
Yeah.
to make a deep, deep run in a Pro Tour earlier this year.
Yeah, double fairies. Yuta Takahashi on that card. This is probably one of my favorite of the recent World Championship cards.
Yeah, it's good. It's really
it's
good.
so sweet.
My
And-
favorite
and
art for sure.
I can't wait to see JD's.
Yep.
Not sure when that will happen, but hopefully soon. TM Doomsday Excruciator hits the board. It's very dramatic.
Yep,
6
I liked
black
it.
pips. Now I just want to see Gary, Grey Merchant of Asphodel.
Okay.
That'd be great. This game would be over. But that's not standard legal, unfortunately, but it would be fun.
So libraries contain 6 cards now. Kind of a play off Doomsday, the really powerful spell in the older formats. And we'll see what Márcio can do. This is a lot of damage, but if you do just deal with the 6/6 demon, I guess there's multiple. If you deal with one of them, then it's not lethal on the crackback here for Márcio.
Yeah, does he have? Yeah, has he got enough to animate the land and eat a food? Needs one more land to do so.
That wouldn't be enough as you're taking 14 on the crackback.
Yeah, no.
But if he can just kill the Excruciator, maybe you take 8 and you lose to your own
Archfiend of the Cross, yeah. That would be pretty hilarious.
Nope. Looks like Márcio just scooped it up.
Yeah, take a look at the last 6 cards in hand. Or, excuse me.
In library, yeah.
In library, yeah. So, game number 1, they're going to Adrian. Let's jump into game number 2 and see if Márcio's sideboard can help him out in this one.
Yeah, as far as Márcio's sideboard, the mid-range mirrors, you just kind of want to go bigger. Liliana the Veil I like. There's a couple Nissas I would be a fan of. You can go up to a 4th Duress. That's the only cards that really stand out that I want to be bringing in.
Terra Sunder, perhaps, but not really. It's kind of expensive to
Maybe.
get rid of a creature.
Yeah, a little pricey.
Yeah.
But here is the Duress from Adrian. Leaves a Bronco, so we can easily just Bronco next turn with an Archfiend and an Anoint.
Go for the throat taken care of, so whatever threat Adrian wants to deploy. One less removal spell to worry about. Caustic Bronco hits the board. 8 off the top. I just want to see it once.
Yeah,
Just because
yeah.
it's funny. Nope.
And
All right.
Adrian's deck, the Team Handshake deck, is the one that really can't crew their Broncos.
Yeah.
Márcio's Broncos are much better. Like, even just look at this. I
Glissa.
believe that's a Glissa.
Yeah.
You could have crewed it up here, but this Bronco could deal 8 to Márcio.
Okay.
How about 0?
No, yeah, no, 0's fine. The spell stutter took care of Glissa there. Caustic Bronco attacks.
19?
Reveals the cottage, so no damage taken.
The Snorse is too good.
snores. Why snores?
It's a snake horse.
It's a snake horse. It is indeed a snake horse mount. Snores.
A snores.
Snores. I don't know. Too many creature types. Snake horse. Who designed these cards?
All right,
Nah,
so
it's a sweet card.
we'll see. Okay, so Márcio must not have an untapped 4th land, otherwise he probably would have wanted to drop the Archfiend.
Yeah.
There's the cottage instead. That would have been the great follow-up here, as Adrián did miss a land drop, it looks like. So big advantage to Márcio if he can capitalize on
for sure.
Adrián struggling. But if he just doesn't get out of the gates too fast, eventually you draw out of it from the Dimir side.
Márcio able to create a little fish token too. Oh, excuse me, not yet. Needs to have 3 mana for that, so just the turn passing back. Tapped land there for Adrián. Gonna kick things off here with another duress. Take a look.
Yeah, looks like we have. There's the hand.
Go for the throat. Another duress. Archfiend and Fairy Mastermind. So yeah, we can pretty sure be guaranteed that that's coming.
Yeah, and we'll see if Adrián fires off the Fairy Mastermind. It's almost assuredly going to die right away, but get the removal spells out of Márcio's hand.
So we'll play a big dumb demon.
Yeah, there we go.
Glissa.
Glissa.
Howdy doody. She's mean, and she has many abilities. Look at this. First strike, death touch. That's immediately just like, okay, that's gross. Draw a card, lose a life if you deal combat damage. Destroy a token, excuse me, destroy an enchantment, and remove the 3 counters.
Yeah, really incredible. And it looks like Adrián drew 4th land, but you just cannot play the Archfiend into the face of a Glissa. You have to just chump block it, otherwise you lose the game.
Yeah. So Anoint taken care of. There's a Tear Asunder in Márcio's hand, I believe.
Yep. And enchantments have just kind of never been better in Standard in a while, so this Glissa ability is just great. Most of the time,
Overlords, looking at you.
yeah, Overlords, Ley Lines, you know, there is just a ton of really, really good enchantments. Most of the time, it's just always, hey, draw a card, lose a life, which we are seeing now from Márcio.
I mean, it's Glissa. I choose a draw, and then he can play Utah, right? Just to know,
He can play you.
I think so, because you have to choose.
Just
I think
sharpie
so
out
too.
the name there. Just write
kill
Utah.
it anyway.
Yeah, I imagine. Well, if you you say draw and I play this and you kill it. Yeah, but so we know,
Yeah, so we
Okay.
know. Okay.
Just making sure the exact time that you have to cast it. Márcio was going to kill it anyway, so it doesn't really matter, but... and just everything coming up Márcio here.
Yeah, this is looking great.
So
I choose the mode. When I choose the
now
mode,
we're
you
just
can
making
still play
sure.
for Mastermind.
Because
That's
Adrián
correct. So
might get a card
the
here.
choice of the mode is made when the trigger is.
Yeah, you choose one and then it goes on the stack, from my understanding.
So when would Fairy Mastermind have to be flashed in? Before damage is dealt?
No, it could deal damage and then the draw goes on the stack and then you play Fairy's Mastermind. I'm pretty sure, but not 100%.
Okay, so you kill in response before the draw happens.
Exactly,
Yeah, okay.
yeah. So here's the Archfiend that just has to be chump block, otherwise you lose the game. So desperate times.
That is quite hilarious.
Block.
Why? Yeah, you just lose a 4/4. Oh, excuse me, a 6/6. Just cause. Yeah, Márcio is in a commanding position here, indeed.
Yeah, and this is kind of the advantage of the Gruul deck. You just have all of your creatures that also just have attached draw a card. Your Bronco draws a card. These powerful adventure creatures draw a card. Your Glissas draw a card. And yeah, maybe that was a little early, but that game was definitely going to Márcio there for sure.
Yeah, just had so much advantage. You know,
Yeah.
Glissa being on the board with no real answer for her, she's just going to get so much more value.
Yep, absolutely. So it looks like Adrián at least mulliganed once here, mulled to 6. Márcio with the full 7 on the draw and having duress. That is really, really strong here for Márcio.
Annex, Shoot the Sheriff, and duress options here for Márcio.
Yeah, and it all depends what's in hand. Yeah, yeah.
That's so rough.
So if he has second duress, here's the kind of song and dance. If Márcio takes duress, and you know, then you just play the Bronco the next turn, great. But if you take the Unholy Annex and you get your duress to rest, then you could maybe top deck something. So there's a little bit of a song and dance with what Márcio wants to do here. I would imagine you just take the Unholy Annex unless he really wants to protect his information.
I kind of like taking the duress because then you have an answer for Unholy Annex next turn.
Then you are 100% priced into duressing next turn,
Sure.
and you can't kill the Bronco. So that's the choice that Márcio has to make. Because almost assuredly, Adrián is going to go Swamp Bronco and hope for the best. Unless maybe he draws like second duress, then he might try to clear the way.
Big think here. It's not always clear cut. You're like, oh yeah, you take the duress so that you don't get duress, right?
Yeah.
Keep your information secret.
And it looked like go for the throat for sure in hand. An Archfiend, it looks like. Leans on the Annex. I like it.
Nice. So now if you're in Adrian's spot, are you tempted to duress, or are you just going to keep doing your proactive gameplay and hope for the best?
I think you slam Bronco and hope they don't have a removal spell. I think it's not going to work out great, but basically the only thing that would work out for duress here is if you duress and you only see one removal spell, and then you play Bronco.
Sure.
But this deck's full of removal spells, so I think you just have to jam and hope.
Yeah.
Because Adrian's already so low on cards, he has to do something to kind of get lucky from this situation.
It's kind of a similar situation with counter magic. You know?
Yeah.
You know that they have it in the deck. Chances are they're going to have it, but you have to get it out of their hand eventually, otherwise they're just going to win the game.
Yep. There's the duress, and Adrián gets an extra card, but once again, this version of the deck, Bronco's never crewing on turn 3, so you might just take 8 damage here.
I want to see someone get hit for a lot, just because it's silly. Oh, okay. All right, Liliana, go for the throat.
That was huge. I think you are pretty priced into doing it unless you have a follow-up creature.
What's next to Liliana there?
Yeah.
I'm not 100% either.
Let not Bronco eat and protect my Annex.
We'll see eventually.
I know all the cards there.
Is that the duress? No, the other duress is used for me.
I'm not sure. I think it's an enchantment by the middle line of text there. Okay,
Oh,
it's another duress. All right.
Yeah,
a little
Is
tough
that
to see.
just black on that side of the cards?
Yeah, I think it was 100% just between Liliana and Unholy Annex. And if Márcio just untaps Unholy Annexes, goes down to 16, and Adrián's allowed to draw another card off Bronco, that's not ideal for Adrián, of course, but it's definitely better than losing Bronco here to Liliana, which would then rip apart Adrián's hand.
Yeah, Liliana's quite mean like that.
Yeah, I mean, whenever you just have one threat, Liliana is very, very strong.
Completely random aside, but they're printing new lands and foundations that have characters in them, and Liliana's are amazing. Just saying. Just saying.
Foundation's definitely going to change standard up for sure.
Oh, yeah.
That'll be exciting. So just a removal spell and Archfiend in hand for Adrián, and that is full face-up information for Márcio, as he's seen it from the duresses. So
Does he have a third land, Márcio?
I think so.
Okay, there we go.
Yep.
Cool.
And just plays the Annex.
Yeah, Annex gonna start taking some damage, drawing some cards, and needing a demon.
Demon, and this gets to crew. He could take 8 damage.
Crew. It's
Nope.
a mount, Corey. How dare you get that wrong?
Sorry.
It's effectively the same thing. But it is quite a funny thing. A demon riding a Snorse.
There you go. So great draw there from Adrián. Picking up another land was not ideal. But now Márcio has 2 threats to deal with, plus he's getting his life total shrunk with this Unholy Annex. So if he has another removal spell for this, this would be ideal.
Get him. Get him.
And if he doesn't, he'll just fire off Duress.
Okay. Mosswood Dread Knight.
Probably played as the creature here, I would imagine.
Yeah, just get in the way of that horse.
Yep. Now,
Make the
Adrián,
attack a little more tricky.
Adrián does have a removal spell, so I would assume we probably see that just to keep pressuring. But Márcio next turn could just go, all right, 5 mana, make a demon, gain 2, and you take 2. The gaining 2 is the important thing.
Yeah, and cards.
Yep.
Cards are always good.
Always good.
I know, right? It's a land. Like land.
Keeping track there. Of the contents that Adrián has deployed from hand.
And it looks like he drew another land. So 2 lands plus the shot the sheriff, I believe.
What happened to the deputy?
Someone had to make that joke, you know. I'm proud of you.
I think it's actually the flavor text is like, no, where's that deputy? Yeah,
Yep. They nailed that one.
Yeah. Shout out to the flavor text writers. You guys are great.
Yeah, tough choice here because your removal spell, you know, shot the Sheriff on the Dread Knight is not ideal.
It's not a mercenary either.
Yeah, I was just doing a double check to make sure it wasn't an outlaw, but...
You merc.
Yep.
Or, sorry, yeah, outlaw.
Just goes for the block here, so Bronco down. But we did find another Archfiend, okay. And I mean, Adrián definitely just drew that off the Bronco.
Yeah, but I'm here, so I know.
Definitely drew that, otherwise you would have saddled it right away.
That's 12, right?
Yeah.
Wait, did he draw that off the Broncos? Would he have taken the 6 then? Sorry, the 4.
Take the 4, yep.
4, yeah, okay. Thank goodness it's not the power.
Yeah.
That would hurt. Right, Márcio has another big flappy threat to deal with. We have land 5 to be able to open
Yeah, that
the
play
chamber.
That play is not good because Márcio knows about the removal spells, so you would gain 2, but then you would lose the 2 back from the ability from the Archfiend. That's exactly what Márcio needed. Just removal spells to try to stabilize. So Márcio's gonna go to 10 no matter what, and he might go down to 9 if he wants to use the adventure side of this Dread Knight. Otherwise, that ability will go away.
Dread Whispers. This is such a cool little recurring thread. You know, when I saw this card printed, I was like, oh man, Golgari's going to be all over the place now.
Yeah.
It just hasn't found something to push it over the edge. You know, is this the tournament? Is this the time for Golgari to rise?
Yeah, it's just always been a good card, but nothing absolutely amazing. But decides to not play it as he's just a little afraid of these creature lands on the other side from Adrián. So either is just representing a removal spell or has one to deal with it. I did see it go for the Threat and Duress in hand as he was flipping through his cards.
The Caustic Bronco hits the board here for Adrián.
Okay. Now Márcio has a nice play of end step, kill the creature, then make a demon. If he wants to. Or you hold it for the creature land as a pseudo time walk effect. But now this Unholy Annex is actually becoming slightly a liability here for Márcio. You got to get the demon down eventually, as this is a 5-turn clock on his own Annex.
The big thing here is Márcio. Again, one of the best players in Magic.
Has taken second at the World Championship a couple of times.
Yeah.
Always been close.
Yeah, always close. You know, he wants it. Like,
definitely.
He wants to be champion. Go for the throat, taking care of the Bronco and a Duress. Let's take a look in hand. Shoot the Sheriff.
I think I saw, the Bronco as well. And now if you just draw a card, Adrián on surface value can just attack with the 4/4 and almost force a block. If Márcio goes down to 4, that's pretty risky here. So I would not be too shocked to see Adrián fire up the Restless Reef.
Yeah, Restless Reef is a pretty sweet little card. And mill, I mean, is anything relevant for either player to mill?
The mill is relevant if you have the Doomsday Excruciator.
Sure.
Yeah. So here is the demon. If Adrián can find a removal spell, because this, you go up to 10. If Adrián can find a removal spell for the demon, you put Márcio down to 8, you attack for 6, put him to 2, and then he has to find a demon to just not die.
Yeah.
But if not, you can't really attack this Archfiend into that demon. That feels really bad. So this is the biggest turn of the game here for these players.
This game has been incredibly close. Like, the first two kind of, okay, we saw the winner pretty early. Like here, it's still, I think it's still anyone's game at this point.
This is very close. Yeah, the other games, just someone had more card advantage and ran away with it. But now on surface value, Adrián can fire up a Reef, attack with both, and the demon really can't go on the land. Yeah, it has Death Touch, so that is not great. So you can get in with both. The demon's pretty much a force block to the Archfiend.
No, I mill.
Oh, mill, yeah.
Got a mill. And then the Bronco, if that blocks 2 creatures would die on Márcio's side, putting him to 6. The Annex would put him to effective 4, and he's got to find another demon.
big swing here. Márcio forced to block. There is another restless reef hiding out there in the lands for Adrián. So, Bronco gonna block. Are we taking? No. Yeah,
It's
you gotta
almost
kill
a
that
double
guy.
force block here. Like you can,
Yeah, essentially.
you can block this. You take 4, you go down to 6. Losing the demon, you go down to 4.
So we take 6.
Okay, that's the plan.
All right.
Down to 4, a lethal hit from the creature land. So at all times, Márcio has to be prepared for that land while simultaneously having to get a demon into play eventually.
There's an Anoint with Affliction.
Yep.
It's on hand there.
Yep.
That would deal with the land?
That deals with the land, yep. But still the
Still
demon problem.
Demon problem, yeah. Is he got any like sacrifice effects for enchantments? I don't think so. Like no bargain, anything like that.
Okay, that might have been a surveil to the top. You gotta think that that's a way to either put a demon into play or destroy your own annex.
Yeah, I mean, there's Withering Torment, but to do that, you lose 2 lives. So,
Yeah. If Tranquil Frillbacks are still in the deck, I mean, I would imagine they would be, as you can destroy your opponent's annex, you can gain some life. That would be pretty much the ideal card, but you do need more green sources for that. So who knows? Márcio could already have that in hand, and has just been really, you know, struggling to get another green source.
Unfortunately, the green source he found was the tapped Surveil land.
Now this is an attack, so he knows what he's gonna hit. Okay, that just means for sure there's a Tranquil Frillback. If you're trying to get a forest here, to line that up for next turn where he could go something like play the Frillback, 2 green, gain 4, destroy your own annex would be a great play.
That seems to be what Márcio has in mind. Okay. Okay.
Down to 2.
So a couple extra creatures there to deal with the land. No mana up to play the removal spell on it.
Yep, and getting the creature land, turning sideways. Now Márcio actually has a good double block.
Yeah.
And then the Frillback, if it's indeed in hand, which is just the way Márcio's playing, I would think it's there.
Flick
Then,
slower.
Yeah, right.
I don't see it unless it's the alternate art frame.
Yeah. Maybe you just keep a forest on top just because you know you are attacking with Bronco.
Yeah, don't want to get hit in the face.
And it's kind of the same as surveilling that to the yard as, you know. So I could see that as well.
Alrighty, moment of truth here for Márcio. Needs a demon or he's a little dead.
Yep, can also saddle up these
the
Broncos as well to draw some extra cards. But, I mean, you can attack with them straight up, too, and hope to hit lands, but
no,
lands doesn't solve your demon problems.
Don't do that.
Yeah.
You can get the cottage up. Oh.
Okay.
Okay. Saddle, saddle, swing, swing.
Well, he doesn't have a Tranquil Frillback, it looks like.
Nope. Just an Archfiend of the Dross.
So there's the demon. Now it just looks like Márcio's like, all right, if you got a removal spell, I lose.
Yeah. Just you straight up dead.
Mm-hmm.
So what do we find then? If we attack, if we saddle, oh, we can't even do that because we have no blockers for Márcio.
Yeah, and if you saddle up, you know, Adrián can just animate the creature and block it, so that's not ideal. So we could just see Márcio going to end step, putting that ability on the stack, and then Adrian's like, yeah, do I win?
Oh boy.
I think he says wait on that.
This is pretty intense stuff here.
Yeah.
In our final round of the Magic World Championship 30.
This has been a great game.
Yeah, it's been excellent. Super, super close.
It's definitely slipping away from Adrián, though.
Does he have removal? That is the big question here.
Or is he just posturing a little bit?
Just got 1 card in hand.
1 or 2.
Oh yeah, hand in head, heads in hand. There we go, only 1 head.
I don't think there's any way to protect this. Now, there is 2 Terrace Under. There's 2 Terrace Under for Márcio, so if you try to killed the demon before the trigger's on the stack, then Márcio could tear asunder the annex.
Yeah.
I would think you just, no matter what, wait for the draw ability to go on the stack and then deal with it. And then even if there is tear asunder, it doesn't do anything.
Yeah, then you got to think, okay, cool, Márcio's very much
Making a
Normally.
fish.
You win.
We do the win over.
You win. What can I do?
Okay, it looks like maybe these are just two friends posturing here is the vibe I'm getting.
I top deck this. I was gonna attack with this, but then I thought like
Yeah, that's how I figured you would.
Top deck
Okay, I
them
was
out.
going to just try to gain life.
I
Yeah.
knew it. I felt it. I was like, nah, he has it.
Huh.
Top deck them out.
He's taking a heck of a long time if he does have removal spells. So.
Adrian's
I'm gonna
either
guess he
slow
doesn't.
rolling. Oh,
I felt it. I was
no.
like, no.
Yeah, now I'm thinking how I can like
Yeah,
maybe.
that's not going to do it.
Yeah, he's trying to think if there's any way.
I don't think so.
Top deck something? No, it doesn't look like it. Because once you even gain 2 life here, you're just in a ton of trouble.
Yeah.
You're at 9, right?
Yep. Alrighty, so Adrian is now in big trouble.
Yep.
Has a fish to his name. Linked with affliction. Does he find something to help him
Draw
out here?
card
Gonna
one last
shell.
time.
Let's see it. It's not going to do anything, but we'll take a look in Márcio's hands, see what he's working with.
GG.
That's going to do it. Wow, that was intense. I thought for sure, like, you have so many removal spells. I
Yeah.
thought Adrian was just going to, like, boom, fire it off, and then, oh, Márcio's dead, but nope.
You know, I mean, that's the price you pay for playing Anoint with the Affliction. That card is extremely good against the Gruul Prowess decks, but up against demons, it's not as good. So you can't really guess perfectly with all the removal spells. You know, there's a lot of different ones you can play, and, you know, you got to really be focused for certain matchups. I love that card against Gruul, but not good against 4-drops. I know, hot take.
Yeah, unfortunate there, but Márcio picking up a win, advancing to 6-1, so going to be very happy with that performance indeed. But to talk about the rest of our field friends, we're going to toss it over to Maria and hear how the rest of our players have done.
Thank you so much, Eli. Wow, what an incredible day 1 of competition here at World Championship 30. Maria Bartholdi, Mani Devuti, and Cedric Phillips with you here to wrap up the day of coverage. Let's start things off by taking a look at our leaderboard. Find out what happened today. Well, what happened? The headline, Jean-Emmanuel Depraz, the lone undefeated player left in the room, your current reigning world champion. Can he go back to back? He was your quote-unquote dark horse pick, Cedric. How are you feeling?
I feel so good. Oh my
Feels
God.
so smart, huh?
I
So
just
smart,
feel
so smart.
It's really tough to just really dig your heels in on the reigning world champion,
Yeah.
but I did it. I did it. Somebody had
Taking
to.
an unpopular stance,
That's
yes.
right, somebody had to, so I did. Yep.
Unbelievable stuff here from JED today. Seth Manfield also currently sitting at 6-1 here, taking a look at the scoreboard. Eli Kassis sitting at 5-2. Some huge names. Shuhei Nakamura also sitting at 5-2 here on our leaderboard. Oh, there's Willie Adel as well, the Hall of Famer, sitting at 5-2. Some very exciting stuff. And remember, they're going to draft in scoreboard order tomorrow. So our Player of the Year race is getting very interesting because Seth is not letting Simon just run away with it.
Absolutely not.
Simon near the top of the leaderboard as well, so very exciting. How about our card of the day, Mani? What do you name?
Maria, it has to be Leyline of Resonance. Come on.
Yes.
Come on. People went from being like, this is the card, to everybody cutting it, and JD's like, are y'all okay?
Yeah, exactly.
What does everyone do? Am I losing it? This card enables turn 2 kills. And you know, when you are the reigning world champion, you don't really miss. JD said, I do it every game except one.
What?
And that was when I boarded all 4 out. So, you know what? This card is easily card of the day.
Oh, incredible. You'll love to see it. Leyline of Resonance. What about our Player of the day? I wonder who it could be, Cedric.
Quite the tough call here.
Yeah.
But since I have to pick someone, I will go with Jean-Emmanuel Depraz, who is up to his antics again. This isn't really the style of deck mirror that we see JED play. More of a mid-range player when I think about it. And it's not to say that he's not willing to play aggressive strategies. It's just not what I really identify him with. If you think about what he won the World Championships with last year, it was with Rafine, because that card was really good. But the key thing that I think we can think of when we think of JD is he's going to try to figure out what the most powerful thing to do is, despite what other people may think. That's what he did with Leyline, and now you kind of see the run through things. Yes, he went 3-0 in draft, and we're used to him doing very well in limited formats, but it's this run through 4 different archetypes, right? There's Cruel Delirium, there's Dimir Demons, there's Cruel Prowess, there's Azorius Oculus in the hands of the incredibly talented Eli Kassis. So not only is JED getting it done in limited, which again we're used to seeing, but it's in constructed across a myriad of decks that are doing very different things, and he blew through all of them.
Wow, absolutely incredible stuff.
Dark Horse.
Of course. Of course.
Dark Horse.
Dark Horse.
Dark Horse.
Dance of the weekend
That's
right
right.
there. What about our match of the day, Monty?
Well, Maria, the World Championship, to me, is all about just watching titans of the game, the best of the best play each other. And if you're looking for the best of the best right now, look no further than round 5, where we saw the reigning world champion go up against the reigning player of the year, Jean-Emmanuel Depraz against Simon Nielsen. And it was Jean-Emmanuel Depraz, as he has done every single other time in his career, taking the match against Simon Nielsen and handing the player of the year his first loss of the tournament.
JED 5-0 against Simon Nielsen.
Lifetime.
Lifetime.
Good place to be.
Yeah.
So cool. What
Dark
an
horse.
incredible Magic player.
No one saw this coming.
Who could have seen this coming?
There's no way to know.
Join us tomorrow, everybody. Come back here to twitch.tv/magic for day 2 of competition, where we're going to have Duskmorn draft in the morning again before we switch things over again to standard. That is rounds 8 through 14. Take note of the viewing times there, starting at 2 p.m. Eastern Time, 11 a.m. Pacific. Don't worry, though, we are not done with awesome Magic coverage here at World Championship 30, because we've got an awesome stream to send you to. We're going to start hosting over Ultimate Guard Live the Vintage Cube draft that people have been qualifying throughout the year on Magic Online. They're going to draft Vintage Cube live, and they get to keep the cards. That's right. And the cards that weren't drafted all go to the winner. So if you want to see someone maybe open a Black Lotus and get to take it home, you're going to want to stick around, everybody, because we are going to raid them in just a few minutes here on this channel. But for us, we are saying good night. As the doors opened into the terrifying halls of the House of Horror here in Las Vegas, 113 players stepped inside, willing to brave the twists and turns of a haunted mansion, all for a chance to call themselves the best in the world. Among the thousands upon thousands of Magic fans who poured into the convention center for MagicCon Vegas, these select few sat down to battle for a shot at Magic immortality. We kicked it off with Duskmorn Draft in the morning, a format beloved by almost everyone, where you can draft almost anything. And then it was over to Standard, a format beloved by almost everyone, where you can play almost anything. And it seemed like each person thought they alone had broken the format. But in the end, one player led the field, and it's someone who knows how to win a world championship. That someone is none other than reigning world champion Jean-Emmanuel Depraz, the last undefeated player standing. Can he do the next to impossible and go back to back? Well, you'll have to come back tomorrow to find out, and for more terrifying delights as we work our way towards our top 8. I promise it'll be so good, it's scary.